Yeah. Why did they sign that stupid contract?
Right, Morris, can you turn off your mic when IC3 is speaking, because we can have a back feed on the
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah. So we can see contract, and there's a pen and the contract's on the table. Now, some people say that's a bad contract. Why was it signed? It was signed either because the leader was bribed, and then you say, well, that would be corruption. Why was that contract signed? Oh, one, it could have been that the leader was selfish and corrupt. Okay. Two, it could have been that contract was signed because the leader was stupid, just stupid. Yes. Three, it could be that contract is signed because that leader was under duress.
Or maybe he
Okay.
just didn't, or maybe he has no knowledge of that industry.
Right. So that would come under stupid or ignorant, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So those one of those three. One, he knows what he's doing. The leader knows what they're doing, and they're just greedy or corrupt. Three, they're ignorant, stupid, don't know what they're doing, don't understand. And one, two, and three is they're under duress. But I don't hear, I never hear people
It's
talking
all
about
of the
the
above.
possibility of
It's
duress.
all of the above, and you gotta get rid of
Yeah,
it. Like,
but Rice Morris, you got to turn on your TV though if you're on this platform.
no, no, my TV is not on. I don't know what's going on. My
Are you
TV is not
walking or
on.
something?
Nah, I'm not.
Oh,
It's just me talking. So I don't know if if I'm repeating myself or maybe I'm late. But
it's just like we kind of hear like
nothing is on.
additional. Um, yeah. All right, go ahead. That's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna respond to IC3. It's all of the above. Like everything you just stated, man. It's all of the above, and that's the reason why you gotta get rid of them, man.
Okay, so let's
However, you need to get rid of them. You gotta get rid of them.
right. Okay.
There needs to be a new revolution. If it has to be bloody, so be it. If a lot of people have to die, so be it.
All right. So let's break this down. You're saying it's all three. So it's corruption, bribery, stupidness, and duress. Okay. So we have limited resources. Okay. So which one of those three should we focus on addressing the problem? Should we go into this situation focusing on corruption, or should we go in focusing on ignorance and education, or should we go in focusing on duress? Which what's the balance
We,
between? You're saying it's all three.
we should first and foremost we should focus on corruption.
Ah,
The
interesting.
corruption has to go, and
Right.
then you feeling under duress. What do you feel under duress about? Because you scared that the people are not supporting you, and the only people that are supporting, the only entity that's supporting you is the foreign. It's a foreign. It's someone that is foreign that puts you in power. So
Okay.
you feel under duress that if that person tells you something, you don't do what that person tells you. You fear that you might get assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay.
you need to be a strong leader. You need to have like strong will.
Okay.
You know,
Slow down a bit. Slow down. Slow down. So you said focus on corruption or focus on duress. Which one of those two? You mentioned two there.
first first is corruption. Second is under duress. As a
Okay.
leader of a sovereign country, you cannot be under duress under no circumstances. You need to be under duress. So why are you under duress for?
Right. Okay. Good. Good. All right. So okay. So how about you, Zongo? Which is the priority out of those three? Corruption, uh, education, or duress?
You kind of went out. Can you say it again? Kind of went
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. So we said we have limited resources, and we're going to set about make a solution to the African problem, and we've got limited resources, so we've got to prioritize. We have three choices. Prioritize. One, we've got to focus our resources on corruption, prioritize corruption. Or two, we've got to prioritize ignorance. Yes, solving the problem of ignorance of the situation. Or three, duress, that the leaders or the people are under duress. So Ra said we've got to focus on corruption first of all, and then duress he sees second as as less important. How would you put it? We've got limited resources now. How would you go about?
I would say, I mean, instead of just boxing me within that options that you provided, I would say if we limit, because like if we limit government influence in the democratic system that we have now, that will eliminate these unnecessary things that we have. That's probably impeding our progress, right?
Say that again. Say that again. I missed that. Say that again.
I'm saying if we limit government's role in the democratic system that we have now, all this issue of corruption or ignorance wouldn't even prevail in the first place, right?
Right. So limit. So how? So you're saying spend the resources we have. We're the hostage rescue team to limit. So how are you going to do that out of those three things? How are you going to do what you just said? What are you going to do?
That's what I was speaking about, like deregulation. You know,
You what?
deregulation, like through like
Yeah, I understand that's easy. But
elements.
how are you going to deregulate? Are you going to deregulate by killing people, or deregulate by education, or deregulate by investigation into corruption? How are you going to deregulate? You can't just go and just deregulate. There'll be people there to stop you. So what? So who are the people, and how are you going to do it? It's easy to say deregulate. How?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like we can educate the masses too, like education of the
Not
masses.
two. Which is the priority? Educate the masses. That because that was option two. Remember, we
Mhm.
said option two was education. Option one was corruption, and option three was about duress. So
I
your
think
priority
I would say like
is education
option
then.
two,
yeah,
option
educating
two
masses
should
will
be
help us too.
option two
Okay,
should be
I
the best
understand.
way.
Go
Option two,
Nigerian first.
yes, option two, because
Option two.
corruption will always be there. You cannot even in the UK there are corrupt politicians. Corrupt politicians are everywhere. So I
Right.
think the priority should be on the education.
Right. Okay. Okay. So you disagree with Ross. So you Zongo and Nigerian first would focus resources on the education of the masses.
I mean,
Ra,
educating how like how actually how this nation states system that we've embraced actually works. You know, because a lot of us don't really understand. I kind of feel like because if you look at like the democratic system that we have, I don't feel like it's the majority that actually rule. It's just a system that is hijacked by a
yeah,
collision of certain groups
yeah.
and
We know
certain.
this. I want to move to a high level of discussion. Let's not
Okay,
talk about the problem. We're talking about solution now. Right.
exactly.
We've got
Yeah.
resources and we're going to apply a solution. Zongo and Nigeria first said, okay, the solution is, we know what the problem is, don't need to talk about it. The solution is to educate the masses. Okay? That's where resources, our limited resources, should be focused. The education of the masses. That's Zongo and Nigerian first position. Ra's position is different. Ra's position is saying, no, we need to focus on dealing with the problem of corruption.
Yes, yeah. We should focus on corruption, and then the solution for that is to have a revolution. If he has to be bloody, if whatever it has to be, like corruption has got to go. Period.
Right. Okay. So, so your three positions. Zongo's position is clear. Nigerian first position is clear, and Ra's position is clear.
Okay,
My
Ra,
position is different.
Ra, can you please name one country for me that
But
they are
hold on,
using?
Nigeria first. Nigeria first.
Hold
Hold on.
on.
Let him give his position. IC theory. Let him give his
Okay, go
position.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So my position is the third position. So I differ from but all of you three. My position is to focus on the duress that is being put on the African leaders. We've got to focus on taking out the white supremacists. And that requires a specialist team. That's the
Yeah,
solution from my
that's no,
perspective.
no, no.
And
Because
how
a
do you do
lot
that?
of
No, hold on. How do you do that? Actually?
that's impossible.
Ah,
Honestly,
what a statement! That is impossible. Well, yeah, but you would talk like that because you believe in spending the limited resources we have. So us four, we're the solution team now. We're the solution task force, and we've got limited resources. You would spend most of our resources on the education of the masses. So we got 50% of this task force wanted to spend our limited resources on the education of the masses, and then on the other 50%, we're split in two. In Ra wants to spend most of the resources on um, he would say that probably the police force and searching out crime, yeah, and corruption. And me, I'm saying no. We've got to deal with the foreigners. Yeah, but yeah, I understand you would
Yeah,
say
but so you think like the foreigners are the ones putting guns on the leaders? I get it what you're saying, like especially when you speak about
yeah, white supremacists, racist, financial, economic
yeah,
terrorists.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the problem with
the
Africa.
the monopoly of the World Bank.
Yeah.
But we have countries like China that were able to move away from that actually, and it's actually the system that we have right now is actually benefiting them. It's benefiting them actually.
Okay, so your
China
position, what
China is
you
actually
talk about
benefiting from this
China.
system.
China is under the white supremacists. They destroyed the Chinese way of life with the opium trade, and China it's been under them since it destroyed over 100 years ago.
Yeah, but I'm talking about now, China now. I said now, like the system.
China China now is a construct of the white supremacists. They
Yeah, I'm
built it.
saying.
Oh,
Yeah, but
I
I'm
see
saying
to
like
stop. I see to
ICT.
stop. Hold on, Zongo. Let me just ask you real quick. China is not under the term of white supremacy. Stop it, man. Come
Okay,
on, man.
what evidence do you have of that?
Yeah, but I mean, if Kaiser
China is the largest military in the world. Like the Chinese,
The
the
largest
Chinese
military in
communists,
the world.
like they are a threat. They are a threat, like to Western, like to Western people. Like they are a threat to them. How they are under the thumbnails of white supremacy?
Okay,
Come on, brother.
okay, good. You asked that question. Quick answer. Is it not true that Russia, China, and a whole lot of others are making an effort to challenge the dollar? They're making an effort to escape. They haven't done it yet, but they are making an effort, a combined effort to challenge the West, the American hegemony. They haven't done it yet. There's no record. All we know that they're forming that means they're trying to do something, which means it has not been done yet.
yeah, but how is the dollar going to affect the Americans themselves? It's not going to affect them actually.
China is
Yeah,
not more powerful than the United States. The
yeah,
military
but
is
I'm saying
weaker than the
if we
United
have the de-dollarization, it's not going to affect America in any kind of way.
States. Well,
Yeah, that's a
let Ra
that's a fact
explain that.
because the American they are back by the gold reserve. Now, if you go to
No, no, no. Oh no,
what's that
now
place
now
that they kept
I said
all the
no, I said
gold?
no. We are no longer on the gold standard now. It's like
Yo, proceed to what you were saying. But
oh
Nigerian
okay.
first, you have a question for
I'm saying
what?
like foreign reserve are kept in dollars now, but I'm just saying because now the American dollar is is higher than is higher has high in value compared to other currencies. That's
Uh,
why.
o- okay. What I
Oh,
wanted to say is
oh,
that
okay. You are you saying something? Oh, okay.
yes, what I'm not trying to say is that we black people we need to stop this focus on white supremacy because other race have been able to succeed with the white supremacy still being at the top,
Give
like
me an
the
example.
Chinese. Hold on, like the Chinese, the Indians, and the rest. They are doing well. They are successful in every field. Then why we complain? It's only the blacks that always want to put it like on the white man. We one, if we want to engage them in fighting, it's not going to work because with the hardware they have, it will take them 30 minutes to wipe us out. You understand me? Yeah, we cannot. See, if we want to really stand a chance, we need to build and industrialize our country, individual countries.
Hmm.
That's how we were able. Okay, for instance, uh, China right now they are like they have nuke to protect themselves. Their economy is strong. So how can the United States engage China in any war? They won't do it because they know the consequence will be severe. But let's say Nigeria, they can bomb Nigeria, nothing will happen. So you see, we are weak.
Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, the role of a government is to I personally think like maybe the role of a government is to protect the citizens from any external aggression and also uh, prot- um, um, protect citizens among their fellow citizens, right? And also, they also have a role to play, maybe like in other aspects or in various industries within uh, um, the country, but their role shouldn't be um, too much because the more power they have, it corrupts, and it stifles business progress actually. And I just want to go back to what you say about like China is just like the current system that we have right now. The reason why a lot of people or most companies in the U.S. have gone to establish businesses in China or they are buying from China is because their product is very cheap. Their low currency make it easy for a lot of people from other countries to buy goods from their country. China, if you produce and you don't have consumer, it's worthless. You still need someone to buy your product, right?
Yeah, but this is
And
obvious. What's the point you're making?
the point I'm trying to say is that the system that you are against, I'm saying China wants it that way because their low currency encourages other people to go and buy into their system. So I'm saying why can we can also learn something from how they did it and how other countries are doing it, like Hong Kong, a country with literally hold on, a country with literally no natural resources. If you go to the country, you see how developed they are.
Do
A
you know
country
how
like
Hong Kong was established? Do you know the history of Hong Kong?
I don't know about that. A country like Singapore, for instance,
Exactly. You know
they
Singapore?
have
You know how it was
S-
set up?
Si-
The history of the country?
Singapore. The size of Singapore is almost half the size of London, right?
Yeah. And
Look at
so,
how. Yeah, of course, that's how it is actually. And then
so what?
if you go to the country right now, at least I mean, in every society, there's gonna be people not having good standard of living, but I believe the standard of living of that society has improved dramatically based on the policies that the country has implemented.
Policies.
Individual, Yeah,
Okay.
the government policies. Actually, in Singapore, they have limited government control over there. Actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
in Singapore,
Yeah.
it's like it's
Yeah.
like
We're talking about all these countries and so on, but I understand what you're saying. So you keep saying people, not you, but a lot of people, they keep always say, "Oh, well, China's this, China's that." Single look, all of that. When you understand history, you'll know that all of that was set up from the West. When they conquered China, when they
Mhm.
with the opium trade, they took over and they run east through the financial system and shipping.
They were- you kind of went out. Can you repeat what you said again?
Yeah, yeah. China, Singapore, all the east it was allowed to be developed by the white supremacists. They conquered them ages ago. It's the same thing. People say, "Oh, Japan! Look at Japan, so fantastic." Listen, the West dropped 2 nuclear bombs on them, right? And then they allowed them to to develop in order to pay the war debts. They
Mhm.
blew the place up. 2 nuclear bombs. And they think, oh, Japan's developing. Japan's are so amazing. Listen, Japan are doing exactly what they've been allowed to do.
Yeah.
They were crushed completely. And they've been ruled
But
by the West. I used to work for a Japanese company as well. And I
yeah, but
heard,
you can't discount the fact that prior to the British arrival, I mean the British, the interaction of Japan with the outside world helped their country to advance also at a higher level too. You can't discount that. All this industrialization project that came into Japan was also a result of the contact they had with the
with the
outside world,
West.
including, yeah, with the West. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like the
Yeah, and the
British and
West
stuff like
work on the controlling side of that contact, just like Africa has contact with the West. Niger has contact with France, the West. I'm saying all contact with the West, what appears to be success and growth, is the growth managed by white supremacy as they see fit. They're managing from behind the scenes,
that. Yeah,
just
I
like
agree.
they're doing with Africa.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Right. So therefore,
Yeah,
that's the
that's how
problem.
validity
So
in
let's
your
stay
point.
with
Yes.
solution. Let's stay with solution mode.
Yeah, but IC3, right? I understand. I mean, currency plays a huge role
Yes.
in the exchange of goods and services,
Yeah.
actually,
Who
right?
controls the currencies?
I mean, yeah, IMF and stuff like that.
There you go. Right. So let's
But
stick.
but
Let's stick up
but but uh, but but, but,
solution mode.
but the point I'm trying to say, I get it, right? The point I'm trying to say is that if you have the currency and you wouldn't be able to use the currency to purchase something, it actually means nothing. Actually, in reality,
Yeah.
you want to make sure like your goods that you like produce, someone will consume it, and you want to exchange that goods for something else.
Yes. And the point you're making,
That's the point I'm making. I'm
Uh,
trying to
uh,
say like
obvious. What you're
there's a
saying, obvious.
yeah,
Zongo,
there
Business.
has to be a way. There has to be a way that people can
Zongo,
circumvent the system
Zongo.
without having to go
See,
through like uh,
Zongo,
the
see,
IMF for everything all the time. That's the point I'm
Zongo.
trying to say.
All
We are
right. So let's talk about that.
Zongo. We are the only one always crying about white supremacy. Let me use for example. Look at Iran. The America, they know if they attack or strike Iran, Iran will level Israel. And
No,
America know they won't do that.
no, but
Iran or
Nigeria,
Yes,
no,
if
Nigeria first. Nigeria first.
yeah,
He does has a point because look at Zimbabwe for instance. When Zimbabwe had issue, you know how their currency kind of devalued at a dramatic rate,
yeah,
and people had to hate on Mugabe, which led to his overthrow, right?
yeah,
So like the IMF do have like some kind of huge control for on these countries because it's based on how the system was established. Currencies was international trade is based on dollars and something like that. So I
yeah.
mean they
right?
have huge control over most
Exactly.
countries, but there has to be a way. There have to be a way to to
Right.
circumvent
Of
that
course, there
system.
has to be a way. So let's
I,
discuss the way. Let's
Mm.
discuss possible ways. Let's
Well,
start
the
thinking
possible okay,
about.
the possible ways that when two Naija discuss it here, most times we don't take him serious. For us to have that possible ways that develop your military,
Mhm.
get put put together your hardware, be prepared so they will fuck with you. Without that, they will always fuck with you. You must have something to defend yourself before these people will respect you. Any other thing is just we are just wasting our time. Without you having something to defend yourself if they strike, then you are just wasting your time. This so-called white supremacy is just as used. They just talk until we have something to protect ourselves if they attack. Then we'll have the chance to speak and and do whatever we want. But apart from that, we'll just continue to blame white supremacy all we want. It's not gonna work. See, I was Zongo. I was surprised to see that Iran has an underground airfield. They construct those underground airfield by themselves. Hello, Zongo. Is Zongo there?
Yeah, I'm so. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I said Iran has underground airfield whereby you cannot strike and destroy their warplane because they are all underground. Those things were built by themselves, so they are well prepared and ready for war. But we are just in Africa. When I see some of our military budget, I will laugh and scream at the same time because it's useless.
Yeah,
We are not
but
ready.
Nigeria first. The money, the the the, go- the government cannot finance on militarization of the country
The
with
only people who are
with.
ready, the only people
Hold
who
on,
are
hold on, hold
ready,
on, hold on. Let me
hold
finish.
hold on, let me quickly drop this. The only people who are prepared and ready in Africa is the North Africa, the Algeria, Egypt, and Morocco, and the rest. They are the one. If you look at their military budget, you see.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm saying you have to have a thriving business in order, a thriving economic system in your society in order to have the funds to be able to fund this project, like these programs, like strengthen your military, stuff like that, right? There has to be money coming inside because if you don't generate enough revenue, how can you finance those programs in your country?
Okay, so remember we were looking at, let's say that this
But
panel, we're a task force.
the question is how do we generate enough revenue to improve the standard of living of our people, recognizing the challenge that we face.
No, Rome,
Dur-
that's not the question. That's not a solution. That's
well,
not.
no, but I'm rephrasing the question actually. How do we generate enough revenue? You know,
There's enough revenue. We already have enough revenue. How do we use the resources that we have effectively to solve the problem? There's enough resources. There's enough resources in Africa. How much more do you need? How much? You got all the gold is still down there. There's enough resources.
yeah,
Africa has everything.
okay.
Africa has everything. So on that base point, on that fact, right? What is the problem? Since Africa has everything, what is the problem?
But it's not a monolith. It's not a monolithic society. There are countries with territorial boundaries. They have their own
Yeah.
jurisdictions.
Okay. And so what? So
So
what?
a resource in Nigeria doesn't to Ghana. So we cannot just get up and go take Nigerian oil if we want to. It doesn't work that way.
Yes. And so what?
Yeah. So the problem has to be addressed from country to country. I mean, what resources that country has and what resources that they don't have. And how can we interact with other countries in order to to benefit mutually between both countries, right?
Right. So you're talking about the African Union. That's what you're talking about. If the different countries in Africa were to cooperate and trade amongst themselves, we've had this conversation before, a lot better, things would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right. So
because you did say like we have enough resources. I'm no well versed in other countries, right? But I do have a little bit of knowledge in Ghana. We don't have like incredible resources. what are the key resources we have in the country? It's gold, timber, oil and gas. What else again?
Yeah.
Cocoa,
Yeah. And so
um,
what, Zongo?
cocoa
So what?
pod.
We know that. We know that.
Yeah,
You're telling me that Ghana has gold. Do we really need to spend time talking about that? You're
yeah,
telling me that Ghana
but,
has gold. Do I need
but
to hear
the point I'm trying to say is we over
that? Yeah.
exaggerate the resources we have, but they are not even the leading producer of gold in the world. Even
Okay.
in the world, other
Yes.
countries produce gold than even
Right.
in Africa.
Okay.
The point I'm trying to say is we have to recognize the problem that we have and find a way to address the problem. I mean, a lot of the time we tend
What
to
is the
generalize a
problem?
lot of stuff.
What is the problem as you see it? Because you're saying that you need to educate the people. You two were saying the solution is the
I'm saying
education of the people.
I don't have the overall solution to a country society. I learn every day, right?
Yeah.
Even when we
Yeah.
interact, I listen to different perspective and I give a close thought about it, right? I would say, I mean, currently in Ghana, I think some of the regulation that's even affecting the thriving of business is some of the huge tariffs and import duties that we have in our country and the
Yeah, you've
rules.
gone back into problem mode. You've gone back into problem mode.
I mean, if we are able to remove these import duties that we have, right, and the tariffs
Yeah.
that we have on other businesses, I think that can help the country to
Right.
progress a
Right.
little bit, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the businesses are going to thrive. I mean, it's let's say
Oh,
if you want
Christ's
to,
sake.
you want to.
Yeah. Okay. And you said the way to do that, the way to do it is to educate the people.
Hmm.
Right. So the resources that we have, the limited resources that we have, we're the task force, the limited resources that we have, we should prioritize the education of the African people in order to solve the problem as you stated. That's your um
I
plan.
mean,
And I'm
education,
saying
No,
no,
no, no,
education.
no,
Hold on, hold on,
no.
hold on, hold on, hold on. Education and implementing policies that
no.
will help in
Hold on.
deregulate some of the problem.
Zongo, the education should be on how to train our people how to extract our minerals and turn it into wealth, because we don't know how to do that, and that is the problem.
Are you sure?
Yes, we don't.
I disagree. I
I
think
said we
loads of
don't.
Africans
Don't
are
say you
educated all
disagree. Then
around
let's
the
tell our
world.
proof. Don't
They
tell me
know.
you disagree. No, don't tell me that. The proof is everywhere. We don't know how to do it. Go to most of our Africa countries. You see the people building all the infrastructure there are foreigners. Most of our people go to university to
Yeah, but
read books. They don't do practical. They don't know how to. Okay. If we
I
say
challenge
okay,
you, it's brain
we can
drain.
do.
African intelligence is
Hold on,
working in the
sir.
West, serving
Can
the West.
if you said yes, we can do it. Name one prominent Africa-owned engineering company that you know that they are playing big in the world stage. Can you name one for me? You have none. So
All right.
don't. So let's
Okay.
let's
You
be honest
said
here.
that Africans can't do it. I disagree. I say that Africans can do it. In other words, they have the African intelligence is sufficient, but I'm saying that Africans are being prevented from
They
doing
are,
it.
they are not prevented. No, they are not. They are not prevented at all.
no, but hold on. See, let me say something, right? Um,
I refuse to believe
some
that.
people might have more experience over others, right? I mean, it doesn't mean they don't have the ability to be able to learn and over time gather the experience in order to be able to handle it themselves, right? And I'll give you one example, right? That when we discovered the oil and gas industry, I mean, at a larger scale, right? I mean, you study oil and gas, so what? You don't have knowledge, you don't have those equipment to develop that in the industry, right? You don't have even the human capital with that experience and the expertise needed in order to help develop that industry. So you have to outsource it from elsewhere. There's nothing wrong in outsourcing that, but with the condition of transferring that knowledge and developing your own people so that they can be able to what to take over the industry. I think that
Okay.
should be the approach. There's nothing wrong about learning or bringing others to help you develop that. There's
Okay. All
nothing
right.
really
Got the
wrong.
point. Simple point. It's a simple point. So you're both saying it goes back to your original solution that education, yeah, because that's what you were saying. What you were both
Yeah,
saying
but
earlier on.
I was saying
About
because you gave it constraint. I'm saying education and also implementing policies that will help solve some of the problems we have. There has to be some implementation of policies, good policies actually, to
right,
deregulate some of the regulations we have, like the importation duties and tariffs and stuff like that.
right. Policies. So the education of the people, and the implementation of policies. I'm saying that with the limited resources we have, right, without dealing with those people who will sabotage the implementation of good policy, I'm saying you've got to take out the white supremacist, racist, financial terrorists. Otherwise, they will sabotage the implementation of good policy, which will then waste the time. Yeah, I mean that's it. That's it. That's why I say focus on the duress.
Uh, okay.
Where
Let me use
focus on the rest at where at the IMF? Is that what you're
I
saying?
say theory. Let me use
That's
Nigeria
right.
for example. Let me use Nigeria for example. I'm not an engineer. I didn't read anything like engineering school. I'm not an engineer. But when I see local companies like in Nigeria, they engage in some of the projects I see, I shake my head. Okay, like in Lagos, sometimes when I see some of the pedestrian bridges,
Hmm.
there's a way to build these pedestrian bridges in a very decent and beautiful way. But sometimes when you see some of these pedestrian bridges, you just shake your head. Most of these engineers they do of like it's like they are not passionate about their work. That okay, if other people should see this thing, how what will be their comment or something.
Yeah.
They just do the job anyhow. It's like they care about profit more than anything.
There's nothing wrong in comparing about profit, but if they have if the system enables them to enjoy monopoly in the society, then they will care least nothing. But
Then
if the system is a little free to allow others to come from outside to build a better system,
like in
build,
Nigeria right now, if we want to build any tangible project, it's always Julius Berger. If it's not Julius Berger, it's a Chinese company, CCCC, I think Triple CC.
but are they building good stuffs that people like?
Yes, of course they do. I think
Uh,
yeah, Julius Berger built the Ikoyi bridges. I think
do-
Third Mainland
are
Bridge
you
and
guys are you guys impressed with that?
yeah, they are doing it because they have been in Nigeria for more than I think more than 50 years. So
Yeah. So
their
I would
work
say,
their
yeah.
work are prominent in Nigeria. Like most of
So
the
why not keep them?
latest.
But the only problem is if they are able to enjoy monopoly, right? If because they are
No,
dealing with
the
the
thing is that
government,
yes, we are
they give
because
kickbacks to the government, and because the thing is, if a business enjoys monopoly in the system,
yeah,
you
but
wouldn't you wouldn't be able to tell maybe
okay, let me
another.
say, the company now is owned by Lagos State and one other state in Nigeria. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The I think Lagos has the largest share in in the company. Yeah,
you understand.
currently. Yeah.
And see
The
when I
point
say that,
is
see
point.
when I
I
say
don't
that,
get the point.
see when I say like the importation duty. See, I see to look at it right that way. See, let's say you want to establish a building. Let's say
Hold it, Tongo. I want to find out what Nigeria's first point was, because I keep hearing, oh, the Chinese is the China. What is the point you're making about the Chinese?
What
So
the
what?
point I'm making is that we need to educate on our people on how to add value to our resources, extract them, and add value and sell to the
you
world.
didn't get a point he was saying. The point he was saying is that the local engineers weren't producing good products compared to the
Products,
foreigners
yeah.
that came in.
Also, yeah.
That's what he's saying.
All right.
So it gives the people that are actually willing to pay for such stuff to see who is better than the other. It's nothing bad about it. In fact, it motivates. even the local companies to even to be competitive to be able to produce something good than the foreign stuff that comes into the country. What is wrong, right? If you
Okay.
just
So
if
the
you
point
just
he's making is that the focus needs to be on education, like, as you were saying, as you were both saying earlier on. You're just emphasizing the point that,
yeah, but it's not just only education and also implementing policies. So the
Yeah,
implementation
yeah.
of the implementation of the policies that I'm talking about will not necessarily uh, uh, incur the use of resources to be able to do that. You know, in fact, a lot of people might end up losing their jobs, especially people in the government sectors.
okay, so
Yeah,
the implementation of policy
yeah,
and combat that falls into my realm, where I'm saying, well, the reason policies there is no good policies is because the white supremacists are impacting policy decisions directly and indirectly, which trumps your education. Therefore, as I said, you have to deal with the white supremacist, racist terrorists who are impacting policy decisions and policy making in Africa.
yeah, and I
Solve
agree.
that
Um,
So,
problem, and then everything else will be fine.
let me give you an example, right? In Ghana, for instance, like because I don't want to generalize a lot of stuff, so I do have just a little limited knowledge when it comes to Ghana. I mean, we did had challenges within our economy quite recently, right? Macroeconomics, right? You heard about the IMF loan that we went to take and something like that.
Yeah.
And what the EU, what the IMF are actually proposing for them is to implement some austerity measures, right? You don't like that because the austerity measures actually will help in removing certain things that's even preventing the country's economy from developing. Actually,
That's
because
right.
a lot of the times the money, the revenue that they generate from all like uh from the taxes and importation duties or whatever, they use that majority of the money to pay their civil servants and some in paying their loans, the bonds that they take.
Yeah.
Majority of it, more than like I
Okay.
think more than 50% of
Okay.
it,
And so
right?
what? And so what?
But then if we implement these austerity measures, I mean, it's not like I'm taking what the Europeans are like, what the IMF are proposing, right? Because IMF might propose that, implement this austerity measure in this sector or that sector or that sector. No, you have the prerogative to choose wherever you want to, implement your austerity measures. I mean, I'm saying make importation duty free for most people coming to the country to do business. Remove unnecessary tariffs. Because the end goal is to improve the standard of living of your people. That's the end goal. Everything that we do, it's not about trying to compete with someone else.
I
It's about
agree with you.
improving the generality of your people. That should be the end goal. Good access to healthcare, basic standard of living. That should be the end goal. You don't want to fight with anybody, but
And
if
the
they
point
want to
you're making? What's the point you're making? What are you telling me?
I've given an example like when you because if you
Yeah, but what are you telling me? Are you telling me that you should improve the end goal of the people? That's what the
the end,
government.
I said the end
You're
goal of
saying?
all this conversation is the end
Yeah,
goal of most of the is not
yeah,
to
that's
compete
obvious,
with any West.
isn't it?
It's to
That's
improve the
obvious.
standard of living of the people. So the
Yeah, why
focus,
do you need to feel this need to say that? That's obvious, isn't it?
yeah, but how do you improve the standard of the living if you don't have a thriving business economic system in your country?
Yeah, and how do you get a thriving economic system in your country? You're
And
in
I
order to
given
get
an
a
example.
in order to
I
get a
given
thriving economic system in your country, you were saying you got to get good policy, isn't haven't you? And I'm
Yeah,
saying no, but you and the white
and being more specific is about removing the importation duty. An example, or maybe to give you some clarity about what I'm saying. Like, let's say, um, you want to build
removing
a company.
importation duty. Come on, what do you mean that? I mean that's just a policy, a decision, isn't it? But
Yeah,
if the leaders are are hostages and are under duress, they're not going to make that decision, are they?
no,
They
in the
can't
country
sign
they
that. They
impl-
can't sign that
removing
policy. They can't make that
importation.
happen, can
Hold
they?
on, hold on, quick. Removing importation duty is gonna be removing importation duty Really? Is that what you're saying?
No, you mentioned importation. Why are you talking about importation duty?
You're
Why?
saying you're saying if
No,
the
you're the
leaders
one who
are
mentioned it. Why did you mention it?
no, you were saying if the leaders are under duress, they wouldn't be able to make that policy decision. Is that what you're saying? If I understood you correctly.
I don't understand what you're saying about this importation duty.
But AH well actually it kind of helps like compete in tech, but in order to compete in tech you need a business to be able to do that. You don't have all those resources to be able to establish a company, a thriving company in your society. If the cost of being able to build the business, the tech business in your society is far higher than the profit that you end up generating. Are you gonna engage in such kind of business? No, you wouldn't do that. So the goal is just making uh creating an enabling environments for businesses to thrive so that they can be able to employ people, have the necessary output that will help in
Yeah, what's
improving
the
the
best
standard of
way to
living.
do that? What's the best way to do that? You're
And I,
saying education.
no, I gave you a specific example, scrapping all the importation duties and
Right.
tariffs that
So
you have
how
on
does that
foreign
happen
goods.
then? How does the end the
Just implementing that policy decisions that will, end up some people losing their
implementing
job.
that policy decision? So isn't it the
Are the-
leader or the
That's
government that has to implement those policy decisions? Yes
yeah,
or no?
yeah, yes,
Yeah, right,
exactly,
right.
exactly.
So why aren't they doing it? Are they not doing it because of lack of education or because of the white supremacist, racist, financial terrorists? I'm saying it's the white supremacist, financial terrorists. You're saying it must be something to do with education.
No, no, no. It's because of special interest group in those
What
societies.
is a special interest group?
Let me give you an example, especially in Ghana, because I'm just giving an example in Ghana, right? Uh, they VW want to start establishing assembling car um, in Ghana, right? But before they did that, do you know what they did? What they told the government to do? They told them to pass a policy, pass a law that will prevent the importation of good like second-hand vehicles into the country. And this policy, whom is it really helping? The VW company,
Right.
and it's going to destroy the businesses of the local Ghanaians at a lower level who are importing
So who?
cars.
So is the VW a specialist interest group?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Especially if
Are,
they
are, are,
if they
v,
lobby.
are VW a white company? Is it white people again?
Come on, we know, we know,
No,
we don't
I'm
have.
telling you, I'm saying it's a white supremacist, racist, economic terrorist, and then you say, "Oh no, it's a special interest group." No, it's a special
But I'm
interest.
saying
And I
if
say,
they
"Well,
come,
who are these special interest groups?
no,
They're white. They're the white supremacists, aren't they?"
no, but the VW don't have control of the consumers though. The consumer decide on where they want to buy their car. But if they convince the government to implement a policy that will prevent people from bringing more cheaper products in the country, they have no anywhere to go than to just to buy their cars.
Yes. So are you saying that the VW, as an example of a special interest group, is impacting the decision making of the Africans?
Coming to
Yes.
us establish a business is not a bad thing, but to
No,
influence
I didn't
government.
ask you what's bad or good. Is it true that the special interest groups that you discussed, that you
Mhm.
brought up, these special interest groups, are they impacting the decision making taking place within Africa?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right. So these special interest groups, if they are impacting the decision making that takes place within Africa to the detriment of Africa,
But it's not
these
just only
special
for
interest
the,
groups are a problem, aren't they?
yeah, but
And
a
they have
special
to be
interest,
dealt with.
but a special
Correct?
interest group is not just only foreign companies though. Even indigenous uh, companies also do the same. Local companies do the same thing. That'll benefit their interests. Because
Well, a
what which
special interest group, an
Mhm.
African special interest group, has a special interests in Africa, haven't they? So they're not a problem.
No, no. They have all these special because we practice free market economy. They have a special interest in generating more profit at the expense of the
Yeah,
consumer.
but that's not a problem, is it?
It is a problem because the consumer only one option just to buy from them and not elsewhere. Because in the US, people just don't buy Ford because it's an American company. No, no, we like a good car. We're going to buy Toyota.
Okay, so special interest groups within Africa. If you have good government within Africa, then that regulates the African special interest groups. Correct? That's internal affairs. Correct or
Yes,
not?
in the internal affairs, yeah.
Right. So okay, so we're not dealing with internal affairs, Africa internal affairs. We're dealing with these special interest groups that are foreign. And I'm saying they're white supremacist, racist, financial terrorists. And that's those special interest groups are what are making Africa retarded. So therefore, the focus of our resources should be on dealing with the problem of those white supremacist special interest groups. And therefore, that will allow good African government to work out internal affairs and find a solution for Africa within Africa.
Yeah, that's why if we limit government too much government influence, they will see no need to influence government to implement policies that will just favor their businesses alone. You
Yeah,
understand?
a good government. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm saying Africa can have good government if they are allowed to govern effectively. And you've got to deal with the problem of the special interest groups, which are impacting good governance, good African
Yeah.
governance. And I
Yeah,
believe
but a lot, and also like what I mean, VW being a European company, I mean, coming to Ghana or some or Nigeria to establish a facility over there to sell cars, it's not a bad thing. It's going to end up, uh, people are going to be employed, just a small handful of people, right?
yeah, it
But
can be a good thing.
but the thing is, the bad thing is allowing them only to enjoy monopoly is a bad
Ex-
thing,
yeah,
right? Because they can just decide to set the price at a very high, and the consumer have no alternative choice to buy from elsewhere, right?
yes,
So if you prevent importation of maybe cars, let's say from the US or Japan, that consumers might be willing to buy at a cheap price,
yeah,
then
yeah.
who is the policy really benefiting? Is it benefiting the consumer who is also a citizen, or the producer who who's in charge by who's a citizen representing a special interest group?
Right, right. So,
Right.
the African citizens and African governments are doing poorly. They're getting a
Mm.
bad deal, and it goes back to what you said earlier on about contracts. Yes,
And let me
signing.
give you one example. Let me give you one example. My mom, for instance, she's a practical example, right? When she was trading, she started as a hairdresser, right? And then she was selling jewelries, African print and jewelries, right? Female like jewelries, right? She used to go to Benin to buy her products. I mean, she sometimes she can send maybe like $5,000, and she bring just a few packs of jewelries into the country. But through her business endeavor, she met a lady from Ghana that told her to start going to China. And when she went to China, the same amount of money she brought like over 10 times what she used to bring. And by means of just buying cheap products in China, her living kind of improved actually, you know. So the best thing is people who are dealing in business always want to, cut their costs in order to maximize their profit, And if you have these huge tariffs or importation duties, it's not going to even give the business people the incentive to want to trade in their societies where they reside. And if we don't have a thriving business, a lot of people are not going to get employed. That's why people are living outside the country to look for better opportunities.
Okay, so let's look at that. Let's examine that what you're saying. So, um, business. How can I say this now? If it's about, is it possible? Let me ask you: is it possible let me ask you this. Um, what would you say? You're at the head of this conference now, and there's 1,000 people listening to you, and 1,000 young people, and these 1,000 young people, they listen to you. You're on the stage, and you're going to give them a speech. Now, these young people, they're thinking whether to stay in Africa or whether to go abroad and study abroad and um, make business abroad and live abroad. What would you say to those young African youth? Would you suggest that they stay in Africa, or would you encourage them to stay? Would you encourage them to say stay in Africa, or would you encourage them to go abroad for to develop their lives and
to
improve their
go
lives?
to go where they find beneficial, to go where they believe they have to go to the place where they deem fit that is going to help improve their
Right,
lives.
right. So
I'm not
you
going
would
to
say
try
to all those African youth, go wherever will be best, where you think you'll make the most money and live a good life,
yeah.
wherever. Okay.
Because I mean, the money that most of us are making is, I mean, even here in these Western societies, is because the exchange rate advantage that they have at the expense of our local currencies. If many
Right.
people, if many
That's
people are
right.
doing if many people are doing this hard work, and when they
Yeah.
change, they don't see no difference. Do you think a lot of people are going to travel? No.
Right. Okay. Good. Good. All right. And so,
It's the end goal. A lot of people, the end goal is to be able to improve their standard of living. What do? They build houses, they buy cars, they buy stuff
right.
that a lot of people have. That's the
Right.
end. Like people want
Yeah.
to improve their life, take care of their kids, have good education.
That's right.
That's what people have access to good healthcare.
Yes. Yeah.
Know what? That's what people are really looking for, actually.
Yes.
And if the
And
cost, Mhm.
yeah, and if they can get all of that in the West, there's no need. You should leave Africa as fast as possible. Every opportunity, get out of Africa, because all those things you described can be found in the West. Chase the white man.
But I'm not
Yeah.
saying they should chase. The point I'm
Well,
trying to
that's where
say,
the wealth is. I go.
the point
That's
I'm
where the
trying to say is that if the country where they find themselves, they have good policies in place,
yes.
and they find it better to stay over there, they're gonna stay in that country.
That's right,
So
and they should.
exactly,
Correct.
and
According to
exactly,
your view.
yeah.
and,
So
and
if
those countries is where the white people are. So therefore, all the Africans should run out of Africa and chase the white
no, it's,
man.
it's not gonna
Yeah,
happen that way. Because like I mean, China had policies right in their country, but it doesn't mean some Chinese are not traveling. I mean, one of
mhm.
the highest group of immigrants in America is Chinese people too. So what are you talking about? Not all of them are staying in China. People still leave China to look for better life over there.
Right. And the
Yeah,
reason people are leaving China and Africa and all these places and coming to where the white people are is because that's where because the currency is stronger. Correct.
exactly. I mean, and also like if they are from the low, because one thing you have to understand, people in every societies, people do not enjoy the same standard of living, right? It's
Yes.
mostly people from the lower class. Poor people are the ones traveling to to better themselves.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, it's not
Yes.
a rich person from those countries is not moving.
So wherever the white people are, you can get a better standard of higher standard of living.
You are distorting my point.
Yeah, but you're saying the poor people they travel to the west. Where
So
else are they going?
if your country cannot provide you the living that you want, why would you want to stay over there? Like I don't
Yeah,
get what you're saying though.
yeah, why would you? Yeah, just like
I
you.
mean,
Just remember, I
don't
said
like.
to you, if you were
Hold
to
on,
give
hold
a
on.
lecture, you were to give a lecture to those 1,000 youth, yeah, African youth who are deciding what to do. You would say in your lecture, based on what you just said, you tell all those African youth, hey, go wherever you can and make a good life for yourself. wherever in this world.
No,
There's
but
no need to
yeah, I'm
say.
not. I'm not gonna tell them that. But I'm just highlighting like the
What are you going to
reality
tell them?
of
What are you going to tell them? Tell me
what
what
are you
you're going
gonna
to tell
tell
them.
them. Nah, I'm not. I'm not gonna speak. I'm not-
Tell me what you're going to tell them.
it's not a. It's not a political correct way to say. It. That's not a politically correct thing to say.
What is not politically correct? What is not politically
The,
correct to
I
say?
mean, the politically correct thing to say. Oh, um, to build their own society. But that's not. Is it really the right thing to say? No, it's not. It's not actually.
Whoa! You just said. Let me see if I heard you properly. You just said it is not the right thing to tell those African youth to build their own society. That's what you
Because
just said.
yeah, because I'm not, when I speak, I'm speaking in terms of Ghana, right? Because currently the policy that we have in place, it's not going to benefit a lot of people.
I'm not
So they
asking
have
about the policy. I'm asking about what are you going to say to youth? You
But
are telling those
Zongo,
Ghanaian
Zongo,
youth that it's no good to build your own society. Just get out there into the world and get the best life you can. Don't bother. You're going to tell the
Zongo,
Ghanaian youth, don't stay to build your own society. Get out there into the world, chase the white man, and live as
no,
best you can.
because when they travel, they have the necessary exposure and the I mean the educated ones, the necessary exposure experience that they want that they're gonna learn from other societies, and they will help in building their own societies.
No, but you just
'Cause
said don't build the society. You said
yeah,
get out
a lot
there.
of people, a lot of people, when they go, they don't just stay over there. They help in building their societies in some shape or form, right?
Right. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you go one way or the other. Either you're going to tell the youth to build a society or to try and live a good life wherever they can.
But you can't build how can
It's,
so
focus
let's
has to be one or the other.
well,
They're mutually
okay
exclusive.
you went to a you're a mechanical. You went to college, maybe University of Ghana. You had a engineering degree in mechanical engineering. Like
Yeah.
okay, what can you do with the mechanical engineering? Can you establish a business? You have no experience. You don't know how to manufacture nothing. Mechanical engineering is just a theoretical knowledge about a particular field.
So,
You are only trained to work in in a specialized area within an overall industry.
hmm
You can't be able to build anything with just that. You still need experience from being in an organization and learning from other people. You need that kind of training. That's
hmm
why internship or training is very crucial as part of your development when you go to college, right? That
yeah,
way, yeah,
yeah.
you have
And
that
the
kind of
point you're
development.
making is,
The point I'm making is you kind of make it seem that I'm selling out, but I'm not selling out. In fact, I'm telling the people to go to gain all the necessary exposure and experience they need so that they can come back and help develop their
oh,
countries.
I'm back. Ah, but you didn't say that. You see, the impression I got from what you were saying is just do what you can to make a good life for yourself. And you did mention no, and don't worry about don't focus on building society. But now you seem to have changed your position. You're saying
No,
get whatever
yeah,
qualification you can, go out there, learn from the world, and make sure you come back to Ghana to
build a
build.
society. Build a society. I mean, so are you telling me a lot of people that travel they don't come back? And most people in this West, like they don't really go back to build their societies in some shape or form.
I can't. I don't know the statistics, but it appears
But
to me.
I see theory. Let me tell you one something. Do you think most of this government that we have in these countries, with this kind of experience, like the little knowledge that you have about it, tyranny we have in the financial market, right? Don't you think if you go back in educating those people, people will have more knowledge about that just
I don't know what you're
wrongfully.
talking about. Which people are you talking about?
I'm talking about the youth maybe going to college because a lot of people tend to focus more on the
Right. Let's slow
government
this
training.
down. So I don't understand what you're saying. So what you're saying, right? You're
I'm
talking about the
saying
African youth. What are you saying about the African youth?
I'm saying
Explain.
with with the exposure, the little knowledge within the field that you have. Don't you think if you go back and share with your own people, they might be able to learn something? They might probably learn that, oh,
Yeah, but that's obvious.
maybe I'm blaming the government. I'm not directing my anger towards the right people. I'm blaming the government, and the government do not even have the capacity to be able to do that.
Ah, and why does the government? Do you think that the government does not have the capacity to do that?
But I'm
Why?
saying that most of the general, I'm not saying me, I'm saying the general populace right now in those countries do not know what you know right now.
Yeah, but
So
why?
they, so they gonna,
Why does the government not have the capacity to do that? That's what you just made statement. You said the
But
government does not have the capacity.
oh my
Zongo,
goodness.
Zongo, Zongo. Why is it that we keep having this belief that it is government that will build our society? See, government, theirs is to collect tax, create enabling environment, and make a good policy. That's all. That's their work. It is me and you, the citizen, that will build the society. That will build the skyscraper. That will build some roads and put toll on those roads. That will create. That will set up company that will create jobs of the people, not the government. Understand me?
I'm no, are you posing that to me, or you're
No,
directing that to?
I'm just saying in general. That's
Yeah,
how.
but the people,
But we make
the
it
people
seem
back
that
home don't know that though. Nigeria first, they don't know that. They think the government got to do
but
everything. You know.
see it. But I'm not gonna lie. It took me a while because I always pay attention to the America politics
Why
and
why are you
society.
now? Why are you
What
now? Are you
what
Nigerian
I
now?
yes, what I discover is that if you because I took my time. I did my search online. I was looking for America company owned by the government. I was not able to find one, and I was surprised. I said, "Wow, this is
But
strange."
even this platform that you come over here kind of help in opening your eyes to some kind of form too, right or wrong. I
Yeah,
mean,
right, right, right,
of
right. Of
course,
course.
the people
Yeah.
like what you know now. The people back, they're not gonna get it. They're still gonna rely on Tinubu because when Buhari was on, people was blaming Buhari. Now Tinubu, everybody's blaming. I mean, the guy just came to office
Yes,
and everybody's just blaming.
because it is easy. It is easy to blame people for our our own fault and our own issues. So we always look for the boogeyman
Yeah,
to blame.
but Nigeria first though. Nigeria first. See,
Yeah.
it's like these businesses. I mean, do you, let's say if the country like Nigeria, they made it like a free importation duty. Like, do you know the level of economic growth your country is gonna achieve, like within a short period, like within the next 5 years or like 10 years? It's gonna be massive. The people that are currently in Nigeria, like people like Dangote or something, enjoying monopoly in the system. Cause let's say like you're in agriculture and you know like
Okay,
oh you
no,
just make
no.
you
What
just
Zongo, what you just said is the
mhm.
major problem the of the failing of Nigeria currency. Nigeria import too much. See, most of the things we consume, we don't supposed to import them. Supposed to locally source them and manufacture those things we consume. But we have middle class who are so like their taste for a European product is crazy.
No,
So
I think no, because
they
like you
rather
remember.
hold on, they rather liquidate the foreign reserve and use it to pay for their luxury life they want to live. Then the currency suffer for it. For
Yeah,
instance,
but
a country like what do you call it, Indonesia. I
mhm.
checked their export. I think 2022 export. The country exported $360 billion worth of export. Than think they import less. But in Nigeria, when you see the import and export, they are almost equal. Sometimes the import is more. So how can the currency survive that kind of this thing. It's not gonna
Yeah,
work.
but you've heard like time and time again, Kaiser explaining that the reason why the exports, the imports, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing actually. It's is the currency that we have at the international market that we use to trade is really what's really affecting our currencies, right? It's not really the importation because
No. See. The thing
hold
is
on,
that
let me give you an example. Let me
we
give you an
don't,
example. Let me give you an
we
example.
don't export value added goods. That's the problem.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to say is that you can really have a strong export base without opening your imports, right? Because let's say like cars, stuff that we manufacture in our country, we don't have all those resources in our country. You need to take something from like from elsewhere, you know. Even the cars, like the electric cars that we manufacture over here, the lithium is not in your country. You got to go somewhere to get the lithium to be able to manufacture the car batteries, right? Some things that you don't manufacture no steels, or maybe the steels that you manufacture, it's not sufficient enough to meet the demand of your company, right? You have to go elsewhere to go get it from, right?
Okay.
So
For instance,
importation is not a bad thing, actually, right? It's
okay,
not a bad thing.
Zongo. We have the mineral to for steel because we have the steel factory that Nigeria built, let's say 50 years ago, that's rotting away.
Yeah,
I
but
think they spend
I'm saying the demand, like let's say the demand, like let's say like let's say Innocent Motors start manufacturing car to meet like 100 million population of Nigeria. That mill, that steel mill, is not going to be sufficient to meet that demand. They will have to
yes, but at
build more
least let's
business.
start first. Let's start from somewhere. You
Yeah,
see,
right. But I'm just trying to say like importation in itself is not a bad thing. Like a lot
it's
of
not a
people kind of
bad thing.
yeah
It's not a. I agree with you, but
yeah
when you are not exporting at all, that's the issue. We don't. If you remove oil and gas, we like it's like the population. They are just 200 or something million for nothing. They are useless.
yeah, you can only export if you can feed, if you feed your population and you have excess surplus, then you export the remaining to other countries that want it, right?
See,
So
okay, fine.
if you export it, it means
Okay,
another country is receiving it, right? If
okay,
you
Zongo, who do you think should be in charge of agriculture, like in any country? Who do you think? Is it the citizen or the government?
all the citizens should be in charge of the agriculture. Why not? The citizens should
Thank
be in
you.
charge.
But in like for a country like Nigeria, every
Mhm.
Nigerians want the government to do it.
Yeah, but even in the US too, they also have bad economic policies too. Like they're always incentivizing this local farmers, subsidizing it for them, and it's the taxpayers that end up paying for those subsidies. When you cut down subsidies for these farmers, the money someone gotta pay for that money. It's not for free.
That see, if
So
you look, people will say Dangote is being monopolized. Not no, it is fake news. Let me tell you something. You just know how to take risk. Every other person, see,
no,
immediately. Oh, let me tell you something. Immediately he set up his refinery. Did you know another billionaire is not building another one in Port Harcourt now?
that's a good thing actually. Is that's a good
Because
thing.
Nigerians always waiting for someone to take the first step. When you succeed, then everybody will troop you into that business. That's just the mentality.
Yeah, cause
People will
like
always draw
yeah,
their
cause like
leg.
yeah.
Yeah, go on.
But in Nigeria first, you do like if one person like I'll give you one practical example. Do you know like in Ghana, at some point in Ghana, in the telecommunication industry, right? The first government company that we had was we call it Ghana Telecom. That was it
Yeah.
was the yeah that was the government owned company that we had Ghana Telecom, and they were enjoying monopoly in the system. At that point, I remember to buy a SIM card. I don't remember the figures back then, but I would say to buy a SIM card will cost you just for the purpose of this conversation. Uh, will cost you $150, and
Yep.
then MTN before MTN, I think it was Space Phone, then Space Phone Ariba, then Ariba. You remember, right? And then became MTN, right? And when they came in, they started selling their SIM card at a cheap price, like say at the dollar, and everybody started buying Space Phone, their phone.
Yeah.
But they were in the first company in the economic
What about
system in Ghana.
Glow? I think Glow
So,
is in
yeah, so
Ghana.
later, that was later Glow came in. The
Okay.
point I'm trying to say is that when Ghana Telecom was in existence, they were selling their SIM card as 150. But when a foreign company came in, Space Phone, they sold their SIM card at $1, and everybody trooping to Space Phone, and that's why till today in Ghana, MTN is the largest uh,
Yeah,
telecommunication company. Not
yeah.
because they know how to minimize their cost and just attract all the customers. That's
You
how they
see,
did it.
see, the second richest man in Nigeria, Mike Adenuga, you know, Glow. If he has sit his ass down and just wait for MTN to dominate the market, he would have become rich. He decided to invest his own money to set up
Mhm.
Glow, and is the second richest man in Nigeria.
Okay.
Extremely wealthy.
So is Glo the leading telecommunication in Nigeria?
No, MTN.
MTN. Okay.
Yeah.
So at
After,
least they have a customer base that they are
yeah. Yeah,
attending to. That's
I
good.
think he has the third largest customer, Glow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But someone was saying in the chat that you gotta focus on AI, or it's not a bad thing to focus. I mean,
Of
there's always
course,
gonna be
there will
there's
be
always
people to focus on that, then other
yeah,
people
yeah,
will
you
focus
can
on
focus
that
on
area.
elsewhere and
Yeah.
on elsewhere. No, I mean, because like it generates much attention in the media doesn't mean everybody gotta focus on that industry. It's just a tech industry. I mean,
Yeah, because the thing is that one thing I observe about Africa, I don't know if you also pay attention. Everyone is just waiting for the government, and the government is not that rich. If you look if you look at America, if you remove the private sector from America, America is done, it's dead, it's just nothing. The
yeah,
private sector control the economy, control the country. That's why you see the corporation, they are very powerful. They have enormous power. They're in charge of everything.
yeah. And do you know like
American
the
government goes to war against other country because of their private
do
sector.
you know the
Not
industry?
really. Go ahead.
Do you know? uh, I don't remember the year, but I think the industry that provides the most employment, I think employs about 18%, 18% or something percent of Americans,
Walmart.
mostly in the service industry, like Walmart and those
Yeah.
retailing industry, right?
Yeah. Retail.
Walmart and those with uh,
Yeah. 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 The one.
but a lot of the times people tend to like blame everything on capitalism. But I mean, I don't actually agree with that actually, right? I mean, capitalism is really helping improving the lives of a lot of people, right?
I told
And
my
those companies do not control us to buy their product actually, you
I
know.
told I told my friend yesterday. I said we will continue to blame government team and turn it. I said if we the citizens don't create the job, there's nothing the government can do because the government priority is for them to collect tax, then regulate and create at least better policy for business. That is their role. Anything you think government will create job, you are just wasting your time. It is the private sector that
So
responsibility don't
how about
belong to.
industrial espionage and stuff like that? How does that impact the market and impact business? Spying,
Then
international spying.
what are we waiting for? I think other races are doing it. Why can't we do it also? Must our people just go to abroad and just study and become comfortable there? They don't want to take risks for their own country of birth. So
Yeah. Nigeria first. Let me tell you one
yeah,
thing. Like I was I think I wanted to buy a car for my mom or something like that, right? From the US. It's just an average car, doesn't cost that much, probably like let's say like $5,000 or something like that, right? And the importation duty, the way they do the calculation, they calculate it not based on the current value of the car, but they base that on the original value of the of the car, and they charge you more money. So the car that you bought it like for $5,000, right? You're gonna end up paying additional tax that might probably cost maybe $7,000 or maybe let's say $8,000, say you probably end up paying, let's say, $12,000 for everything, right?
To clear the car in Ghana.
Yeah, to clear. I mean, it's heavy importation duty,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and this is probably maybe an accident car that you have to repair and everything else. And I'm like,
But
okay, and that's how I realized that no wonder why. Because in other words, like the people that don't manufacture anything, they're even paying more for a used car than the people that actually manufacture those cars. So our societies, we pay even more than the countries that are actually manufacturing these stuffs. Like, and it's just mind-boggling to me when I discover. I'm like, what? Like, how, how are we even implementing this kind of policies? Actually, I mean, and how can the people in those societies have um good standard
okay,
of living, access to good cars? That's why people will
as
continue using old cars because it's just expensive. People are just
Nigerian
paying
Ports Authority.
they are paying expensive
Zongo.
cars for for cars with high mileage. I mean, it's just crazy. And people don't even.
Okay, Zongo. Zongo. I want to ask this now. Continental Africa Continental Free Trade is, I think they are being implemented.
Mhm,
How many of our entrepreneurs are keen to do something? Think about how to scale their business. Think
mhm.
about how to dominate the African market. Because first, see, let's not look at the world first. Let's look at Africa. If you can take your business across the, I think 50 something
Mhm.
country in Africa, you'll be okay.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
yes, let's pay
But
attention.
initially, Buhari was
Yes.
against that. Why? Why was he against the international? The
No, 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 no. See. Our leaders are. We may sometimes think they are stupid. You know what he did? He gave the private sector to key into the policy. They review it first because they are the one going to be like it's going to be their opportunity. So they are the ones going to use the whole thing.
yeah.
So they review the policy and see, okay, it's going to benefit Nigeria businesses before the president says, okay, let's do this. Because that's the best thing to do. You
Yeah,
have to
but Nigeria
consult
first, the mistake.
your
Yeah,
you have to
but Nigeria
consult your
first, the
private
business.
sector first. Eh? Go ahead.
No, but Nigeria first, the
Mm,
businesses they are the special interest because in every economic system we
mm,
have producers and we have consumers, right?
yeah.
And the consumers should have the liberty to be able to decide where they want to buy cheap goods from. The fact that
Yes.
you are Nigerian doesn't mean I have to buy from you. I have to buy from even if someone from Ghana if he sells at a cheap price for me.
Yes,
That's
of
why you
course.
see people. That's why you see people tripling in Nigeria and buying cheap product to sell it in Ghana. It's not because they don't want to buy good the wholesaling they don't want to wholesale
No,
their
no, no.
goods from Ghana. It's probably
Uh,
because they probably can get it cheap maybe in Benin or probably in Togo or Lomé or
okay,
somewhere else.
Zongo.
Why do people why do people go to Togo all the time? Because they have free ports over there. People buy cheap products over there and they come and sell in Ghana.
Zongo,
So
let
they
me tell
are
you. Zongo, let me tell you my problem. For instance, Nigeria consume $5 billion worth of rice every year.
Mhm,
A majority of that foreign exchange goes to Thailand. See, if we are spending that money buying from Ghana, for example, I won't have any issue. At least the money is still in Africa. But that money leaving Africa to Asia, that's what bothers me. I don't care if it goes to Ghana, Egypt, South Africa, but we should allow this money to remain in our continent instead of just flying out every time.
yeah, but like you are speaking in terms of you are speaking in terms of the minds of the businessman, right? But you and I, as a consumer, you don't buy something because it's Nigerian made. It's because it's cheap for you.
Yes, see,
So wherever it's cheap, you just go
Zongo,
buy it.
for me, I don't care if it is like it's from Ghana, Cameroon. What I'm saying is that most of these things we should produce this thing in Africa and sell to each other instead of going outside. Can't we do it?
Mm. Yeah, we can actually do it, but
Ah,
if you don't allow people from outside to come in, the people inside
okay, Okay,
They'll get comfortable. They'll get comfortable. They'll get comfortable doing stuff.
I understand. If you look at Europe, for example, Europeans trade more with each other than they trade outside their continent. They trade more with each other, more. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. We should first of all trade with each other first.
And what is really preventing us is the policies we have in place. Like even just traveling from Ghana to go to Nigeria, you just have the level of impediment you have to go to. You have to
It's
go through.
crazy. You know, I saw the trade between Nigeria and 2021. Nigeria and Ghana was laughing. $300 million. I was
So
like, what?
yeah, that's a lot of money. Yeah.
No, 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 that's too small. Come on. That's not money. Come on.
I mean, at least with the level of impediment that we have at the borders, at least it's some kind of money, you know. 'Cause
Like, what that just shows that we don't trade enough with each other. It's like it's not our fault because really there's nothing much to buy from each other. You see, what are you going to buy from Nigeria now, except maybe oil and gas? What are we going to buy
yeah,
from Ghana? So these are the issue. We don't, you see,
yeah,
we need to do better.
yeah. And I will tell you one thing, like for instance, even in Ghana, a lot of times when you hear some of the animosity, the misaligned, this thing that people like Ola was saying the last time that maybe Ghanaians were hating Nigerians. I was saying in the case of business, for instance, let's say like the Nigerian businessman comes in, right? It's not because he's better than those people because like those like people like let's say like people who are selling like phone accessories, right? And I remember
Mm.
like you can probably find someone from Nigeria. He knows where to go buy something cheap in China and comes and sell at a cheaper price. So generally, the consumers who are still Ghanaians are going to come to him. And the animosity, where does the animosity come from? From the other retailers that are
Yeah,
selling at
you're
a higher
right.
price. So it's always like that. So consumers, they don't have, they are always, they have no loyalty for you because you come from, they're going to buy where the
You're right.
product
You're
is
right.
cheap.
I agree with you.
Right. So that's how things works. You know, like
Mm.
if we implement policies to prevent people from coming from outside, it's always you and I who are buying the stuff that are always going to lose a lot because we just pay too much for everything.
Okay. For instance, when Dangote started making cement in Nigeria, I think the patronize people that were patronizing him was little, but as times goes on, the product became more better and better and better. But if you go to Nigeria now, it's everywhere you go is Dangote cement. Dangote. If you are building a house, anything is Dangote cement. You
Is that
understand
good or
me?
bad?
Is it cheap? Yeah, I think they have
There are
Dangote
others.
cement in
There
Ghana too,
are
right?
others. Yes,
They have it
we
in
have
Ghana too.
I think La Farage. We have
Yeah,
BUA, Boa
yeah.
Cement.
We
We have
have in Ghana we have the Tema oil refinery. It's a government refinery, right? Government, like too much government companies doesn't really thrive,
They
because
don't travel at all.
like nobody, it doesn't belongs to me. Why should I kill myself for it, man? If I
Thank
even try
you.
to make a decision, a business decision, a lot of people might, end up, criticizing me, saying I stole money. So people are even they fear when they work in government, distant uh companies, right? That's why, you know,
Instability.
and
So, so
I see theory. I agree. Political climate also prevents private businesses from investing in those countries because a lot of people during election time, people just fear like, hey, I don't want to stay here because if any conflict arise, it's
That's
not
right.
worth it's not worth it maintaining my business over there. So like,
Exactly. So it's the white supremacists again, the financial
but
terrorists pushing
but
instability
really,
and
okay,
fear.
Zongo,
really, I see theory. Really, our politics, really, instability. Really,
no,
is that
no,
what
no,
you think?
Zongo, Zongo. Let me tell you something. You know, before I was when people when I see issue of insecurity in Nigeria, I was like, what's going on? But I now sat down and I think about it. I said, if Nigeria is so bad and the insecurity is out of the place, why would Dangote spend $20 billion to set up a refinery in a chaotic place? He's not gonna do that if the environment is so bad and
Where is he? Where is he building that from? In what state?
it's it built it in Lagos, yeah.
Oh, it's in Lagos. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Because Lagos is close to the sea, so you have the what they call it.
Why
The
they?
what they,
Because I know like they get the oil from. So if he's building it in Lagos, it means he's
Mhm.
gonna buy it from the. Is it? Do you know some of the oil fields over there? Agbami oil field. I did a project about Agbami
There are
oil
a
field.
lot of I think there are a lot of oil fields. There's one in Ondo State. I think
Because
lots in the Ondo State, in my state also in Edo
yeah,
State,
because if it is
in Bayelsa, Delta, Port Harcourt, then Uyu, Akwa Ibom, yeah,
so
and in the what you call this island,
you know,
Bonny Island, yeah, go
because
on.
and also like this government, they don't want these private individuals to have this too much control. Because if they have too much control, they can influence people, and they might end up taking power from them. So
No,
you get like you see where the rift comes from. It's
no,
just
no. Okay, let me tell you something. That way back, that was the mindset. But even the politicians saw that this is not sustainable, so they no longer bother about that. Let me tell you something. The
but they
current
make sure Dangote doesn't comes into like he doesn't make commentaries about politics.
no, no, they
You
don't
see,
comment. But what they do is
yeah.
that let me tell you the truth. They donate for both parties. They donate money. They support both parties. You understand me? The last election
Why do you
when
think they donate though? He's a
they,
special interest too.
of course, now
Protect
they
his
to
interest.
protect their business
Interest.
and all that. So the
Yeah.
interest good. So they support both parties. Even the owner of UBA, when the president won the election, he visit the owner of UBA Bank, United Bank for Africa.
Yeah.
Then he visited the Dangote. Those are the two people he visited immediately he won that election. He went to their
Yeah.
house personally, and I think there was a video that went viral. I think one said, you are the last man standing." So they were laughing. So
Yeah.
that went viral. Like, people
Exactly.
were
Yeah.
insulting the guy. The guy,
Because
he didn't
look
come
at
out.
the. Can you look at like the buildings that we have? Sound like the I wouldn't say like the housing crisis in the
Yeah,
cap Accra, for instance.
yeah.
Look at a country like Accra, a city like Accra, and if you even staying over there is even way expensive compared to other places like maybe Lagos or something like that. I mean, because of heavy importation duties and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, it's the people. And at what expense are we having these heavy stuffs? Like it's just because we just want to finance the lifestyle of this civil servant or
Okay,
this.
okay.
It's
Let
just
me tell
crazy.
you.
Good
In
night, all. Great conversation. See you
Lagos
again
for the
soon. Take
okay,
care.
take it.
Bye
Oh,
bye.
okay.
Zongo, in Lagos, for example, we have another state called Ogun State. We have Ibadan or your state. For instance, there's a train from Ibadan or your state to Lagos. Huh? I think it's 2 hours. So if I can make my plan properly, I can be working in Lagos and living in Ibadan. You understand me? It's just that most people just decide to stay in Lagos. But if you don't like the crowded kind of lifestyle in Lagos, you can live in Ibadan and work in Lagos.
Mm.
You leave you take the first train in the morning, and maybe you return back. You take the last.
Oh, you mean the train that Buhari built? Is it that?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes,
So it's
yes.
it's kind of like easing the overcrowdedness that is
Thank
seeping
you,
through the bigger cities. Yeah, okay.
thank you. And that train moved from Lagos through Ogun State and to the final destination, Ibadan or your state.
And then you wouldn't
Because
have to be using more like cars to travel. Even traffic kind of ease traffic congestion and probably too.
thank you.
Yeah.
So the thing is that those are the kind of infrastructures that matters. The
Yeah.
easy, yes. Did you know all this why
Yeah.
Nigeria didn't have a cargo rail? But right now, okay, there's cargo rail now that move containers,
cargo containers. Yeah.
cargo. Yes,
So, but the thing is, right? Nigeria first.
yeah.
Why do you think they have the cargo rail? What is the benefit of cargo rail? It's because it helps you to transport goods at a cheap rate.
And even faster rate. Yeah, cheap and faster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it helps it maximize productivity, right?
Yes.
Instead of just using vehicles and and at the end of the day, who benefit from that? The consumer. Like they're not gonna price it at a higher rate, right? So like there are ways. I'm not saying we're not saying that the monetary system that we have, uh, the euro dollar doesn't have an overall impact on that. But I mean, we can
Well,
start from somewhere, from the
so that's
internal
the reason
solutions
why
can really help
the,
actually.
the reason why I commend Buhari's administration was the infrastructure he built. Because for Nigeria economy to expand and survive,
Hmm.
Nigeria needs this infrastructure badly. You need the railway and cargo rail. You need good road. Okay, for instance, Southeast there, they are the kind of the industrial capital of Nigeria, where you have the manufacturing companies there. They
Mm,
only have there's only one bridge that connects that that region to the rest of the nation. So it was overdue for them to build another one. Over the years, no one was able to do it. Then when Buhari came in, he built the second Niger bridge. You
mhm.
understand me? It has been commissioned now. So if you look, that will easy movement of goods and services. So
Exactly.
those are for some people they don't see those things as something that will contribute as make the economy. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it improves productivity.
Yeah.
It reduces the cost of production, which have an
Yep.
influence over prices, which is like that's really a good thing. And you're looking at how Dangote strategized the place where he built um, his refinery. It kind of tells me that he's probably going to buy a lot more from the field offshore
Yeah.
in Lagos. Yeah,
But let
because
me
this
tell you
one,
something.
because I know like
Let
they
me
do have some in Port Harcourt. Is it Port Harcourt or the one where does this guy come from? What is his name? The guy, Asari Dokubo, where he comes from.
yeah,
That
he's from it really is from Port Harcourt.
that kingpin,
It's from I think he's from Bayelsa, but he lives in Port Harcourt.
Benny
Their
State is.
their ethnic group is spread across. In Bayelsa, you have Ijaw people. You go
Yeah,
to Port Harcourt, you still have Ijaw.
aren't they like the ones that they wanted to have a separate state from Nigeria? Those place with the oil. What's the name of that place? Is it Benny State or what? Asari Dokubo's
Yeah, yeah, it's
because he's a militia guy. He's a militia. Like he was
yeah,
against
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's from let's say Port Harcourt, Cross River, how
yeah.
many
They
rivers?
when they gave him money and he kept quiet. So it's all about at the end of the day, it's all about money.
Let me tell you
It's,
something.
it's about money,
That was
starting up living, good
those
living.
are.
That's all.
Let me tell you something. That move by President Musa Yar'Adua, that is what caused the insecurity we face. Because let me tell you something. Yar'Adua rewarding bad behavior created monsters. Now you see Nigeria, you have different groups creating causing problem. Want government to do the same thing, like the kind of deal they make with Asari Dokubo and his men. They also want something like that. In fact, I'm not gonna lie, even in the north, all these crises that you see, they also because let me tell you something. Those people they are on yearly budget of about 100 billion naira. Let's say in dollar, that's about $100 million yearly.
You say? What did you
Okay,
say? Say it again.
good. Those people are on yearly budget of $100 million.
For what? For Asaribo,
Yes, yes.
that militia guy, they give him that money to keep quiet or to to prevent the
Because
insurgency.
that was the also now that was the agreement they signed with the militant guys way back. The year
Yeah,
government signed. Okay,
but
drop
but
your
but
arms.
in reality though, Nigeria first.
Yeah,
In reality though, like Asari Dokubo, he's a smart guy. I know like he's a militant, the leader of a
No,
militant
no,
group,
no.
right? But if you look at it, see, because if you look
Mm.
at like in reality about democracy, right? It's just people that come together, hold on to power, and they give contract to certain special groups, right? And this guy feel
Mm.
like, man, I come from this country. This land belongs to my ancestors. Why don't you empower me so I can make money from that country? Why are
Okay.
you empowering people from other places, right?
Okay. Let me say this. But
Even if
hold
I
on.
don't know, I don't. Even if I don't have
By
the
doing
knowledge, empower me
okay,
to
let me
make that
say
money.
something. By doing so by the government, now there are people who want the same thing now.
Oh yeah, you're right too.
That's what I'm saying. You don't reward bad behavior.
Yeah,
Same
but
thing,
the thing is,
same thing happened with kidnapping issue. When kidnapping issue happened, I think there were people who said, yes, the government should go there and rescue if some of the hostage or kid or yes, some of the hostage were killed, fine, but it will be a deterrent to other people. So Nigerians we like to play politics with everything. At the end of the day, kidnapping is not a thriving business because the government allow people to to use it to.
maybe maybe they can use some of the money to finance the people in uh, uh in the state where they come from, because like in America, like uh, um, the states also have some kind of like they kind of structured the society in a way that the federal government that doesn't have absolute control.
Mhm.
The states have some kind of autonomy as well. And here in Washington State, we don't pay state taxes, but in some states do pay state taxes actually, right? So that's it actually, yeah. So
Yeah,
so a lot of
but
business tend to come over here. That's why we have like Microsoft, Amazon, and all those big tech companies here. They're in Washington State, and even the industry that generates the most revenue in Washington State, not Washington D.C., Washington State, close to Canada in the west coast of America. It's mostly in ICT
okay.
and aviation and all those things.
Zongo, I see what you comment that you agree. Let me tell you the problem of Nigeria. See, the reason why when Nigeria just blame only the leaders, I will always go against them is that it is not just the leader only. It takes two to tango. For instance, for a minister or governor to steal money, other people will involve in carry out that stealing. You will get the chief of staff will be aware, even the accountant general of the state will be aware. A lot of people will be aware of this transaction. But you see, we make it seem as if these things are just they just happen like behind the clothes that no one knows about it. No, people know. The funny thing is that some of the people that complain about bad government in
Hmm.
Nigeria are the children of the people who are causing the problem. They come on
Yeah.
social media, they complain the country. Go home and ask your dad or your mom what are they doing. It is their incompetence that's creating the problem.
Yeah,
If they
but
do their job,
but
go ahead.
Nigeria first. Nigeria first. The reason
Go
why
ahead.
the people who are valid for complaining, I'm not saying complaining solve the problem, because people see what is visible. When there's too
See,
much corruption, hold on
I'm
first.
not.
I'm
Yeah,
saying
go
like
ahead.
it is
Mm.
visible because they steal them. Because someone you went to college with, and all of a sudden he became a senator. Then he's all of a sudden he's a millionaire. Like, how did he make the money? You have no knowledge. This guy, what is this guy? This guy in this Nigerian Senate. He acts like he's a cultist. Like, what is his name? He's like a dark skinned guy.
Oh,
Forgot his name.
Dino Milaye.
Dino, Dino. Yeah, I went to college with Nigerians, so I know a lot of
Yeah, no, I
Dino.
know it's Dino. Yeah.
Yeah, Dino. See the way he acts, like all this money that Dino has, like for a senator, like he makes this money, like really. So people see it, like okay, You like went to college and you were part of a student union group, and you get what I'm saying? Like, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you hold a leadership position and you became rich. How? Like, so people know it actually. So people know they still like. So that's why everybody thinks like when you hold a political position, you have to make money. So that's why
Okay.
everybody want to become a politician now because money is in politics because you have to you can steal to make money. You don't have to do much, just steal money.
Okay.
But
I agree.
if you limit the control, it limits this teacher unions association because a lot of the Nigerians that I met in Ghana or probably in Cyprus is because they were in their country for almost 1 to 2 years or 2 to 3 years, and they were striking their universities, and nobody was actually teaching. Can you really imagine? Like really?
Just imagine.
So like so, these teacher unions and all those union groups have they come into they form collusion and they influence the government against the system, right? And at
Mm,
whose expense? The general people. The general people actually. The general people get blamed. But if you
yeah.
limit government influence, do you think those unions are going to have influence over the government? No. I mean, everybody's going to get into the private sector, probably do some business, make income for themselves. They won't have to rely on the government to tax people so they can make money for themselves. I mean, the government has a role to play, protect the citizens from external aggression, maintaining law and order, but they shouldn't be doing too much, too much importation duties, expanding the government size and having more ministries. Like in Ghana, for instance, do you know we created additional 10 more, 16 more regions?
Just imagine.
Okay. And creating more ministries.
Okay.
What does
See.
creating more ministries actually means? It means you're going to tax more people to fund
Yeah.
those ministries.
More expenses. Yeah. Oh, great. The thing is that.
But the ones that benefited is always going to be happy because they are stealing somebody's money to pay you to enjoy like your to have a
Yeah.
comfort life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what actually do. That's why we keep on blaming and blaming. But ever since like I knew about this, I stopped even paying attention to the government. Actually, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
I
same.
don't. I don't.
I don't pay
When I
too much.
listen, yeah, yeah. When I
I
listen to
don't.
politics in Ghana, I
Mm,
just have like it's just comedy for me. You know,
yeah.
it's just comedy because like
Because yeah, I agree with you. Like in Nigeria, for example, that's why I keep saying that if we want to make the country work, we need to, we the citizens need to build the country and allow the politician be because they are not going because they have already shown before that they are incompetent, that they cannot get anything done. So why are we going to waste our time and depend
yeah,
on them to get things done?
the private industries needs to be empowered. Actually, you know, they need to be
Yeah,
empowered.
yep. Because see, for instance, when you look at
Can you
America,
imagine? Can you imagine if you have? Because a lot of time you think about importation as people Nigerians. Because like the reason why we have more. Uh,
All right. How long ago have you did you last see Kaizo?
no, I
I
think
think.
it's been a while. I think he sleep.
Do you
No, I
want me
think.
to do you want me to shut it down and then you can carry on the conversation in the back room?
Oh, you mean your channel or what?
Do you want me to shut this session down so you can carry on the conversation in the back room?
Oh, okay. I mean that's fine.
Because Kaiser is not here, so and it's been going on five. Or do you want me to give you a few more minutes? What would you like me to do?
I mean, we can have this conversation at the back room. I mean, right?
All right. Thank you, everyone. See you.